There's been a lot of discourse around the film Obsession, specifically around subject kind of pertaining to the male gaze. And when I think about the concept of the male gaze, my mind immediately goes to one of my favorite movies of all time, The Virgin Suicides, directed by Sofia Coppola. This film is specifically constructed through the lens of the male gaze, looking at the story of the Lisbon sisters through the perspective of these teenage boys that thought that they loved them and knew them, but really didn't know them at all. The film isn't specifically about the male gaze, but it really showcases what can happen when a group of women are controlled and idealized by a patriarchal society that does not allow them to truly figure out who they really are. You have the five Lisbon sisters. They are all growing up in this very conservative religious household. They have a very controlling mother, and at the beginning of the film, we see that the youngest daughter, Cecilia, has already made one attempt on her life. In an attempt to help her, her psychiatrist suggests to her parents that she should be allowed to socialize, because the parents have really kept the daughters away from any male interaction. Based on the psychiatrist's encouragement, they allow some of the teenage boys into their home, and we hear from the teenage boys their perspective on these girls. Like, they completely idealize them. They are like these virginal, ethereal beings, but they really don't know anything about their personalities nor what makes them them. Unfortunately, at the beginning of the film, when they have this party, Cecilia excuses herself and then makes another attempt that is successful. We see the aftermath of this decision on not only the family, but also the community at large. We see how the community has reacted in judgment. We see these teenage boys trying to make sense of who they think the Lisbon sisters truly are. At this point of the film, the Lisbon sisters are still allowed to go to school, and we see that the parents are really deteriorating. And at this point in the story, I think they are now more open to allowing their daughters to have a little bit more freedom, because that was a possibility of what caused Cecilia's decision. Out of all the Lisbon sisters, we're really focusing on Lux. She is a 14-year-old girl. She's more of like the wild sister, and everyone really highly sexualizes her. She ends up falling for Josh Hartnett's character Trip, and all the sisters are allowed to go to this homecoming dance with Trip and some of the other boys. We see this night of freedom is kind of like their only night of happiness. The girls are allowed to dance, allowed to wear nice dresses. Their dreams are immediately shattered. We see that Trip has taken Lux into the football field and has taken her innocence away. And after he's done this, it's like she doesn't mean anything to him. This kind of virginal, angelic creature has turned into just a normal teenage girl. And he just leaves her in the field, and she misses curfew. When she arrives back home, her parents put her and the rest of her sisters on complete lockdown. Her overbearing mother makes lots of changes in their life. She burns all of their rock and roll records. The parents take their daughters out of school and keep them sequestered inside the house. And we see all the girls kind of diving into this deep depression, just kind of stuck in this terribly sheltered environment. And we see these teenage boys look upon the house, trying to understand what's going on in the house. They have these fantasies of what they would do with the girls, or where they would drive to, where they would go. They do try to communicate with the girls, but they kind of remain a mystery. And we see Lux, who was once this extremely fun, bright person, into a shell of herself, because now she views herself as just something to be used and abused. And we see countless boy after boy sneak onto the roof of their house. They have relations with Lux, and then they just leave her there. So her view of who she is and the way men view her is dramatically changed. She's just trying to find belonging and connection. But the boys that visit her on the roof do not view her as an actual person with feelings and desires. She's like this caricature of who they think she is, and they use and abuse her. And so we see these sisters literally trapped in this like patriarchal, sheltered environment. Throughout the film, there's this symbolism of this dying oak tree in their front yard, and the city has condemned it. Near the end of the movie, the city workers have arrived to tear down the tree, and all the girls run outside in their nightgowns, and they link arms together, and they try to save the tree, and they're like, it's not dead yet. But they tear down the tree, and I feel like it symbolizes them tearing down any sense of hope of life that they had. These girls don't see a way out. They've lost their lust for life. They've lost any sort of semblance of what they think life can offer them, and they've kind of sunken into this deep depression. And so at the end of the film, we see all these teenage boys looking in their window, and the girls shine a flashlight through the window, and so the boys make their way over to the house, and they promise Lex, yeah, we're going to take y'all for a ride. We're going to take you wherever you want to go. And Lex kind of flirts with them and says she'll be waiting in the car. And the boys enter the home. They walk downstairs to the basement. One of the boys makes a really crude comment about filling up the girls just once, and then he backs up into someone's shoes. And then we realize that all of the girls have taken turns unaliving themselves. And so these teenage boys run out of the home, and we see as time goes on, they're trying to put the pieces together. They're trying to understand why these girls did it. And they're trying to take little pieces of their life. Like, the parents just leave the house. They get someone to sell all their belongings in a garage sale, and so they take all the family photos. They try to make sense of what happened. But again, we're only getting the story from the perspective of these boys. From the perspective of the men that romanticized their life, that idealized them, that viewed them as these angelic people, but truly did not know them for who they truly were. It's just such a tragic tale of these young women that were not given the opportunity to make their own decisions. They did not have agency over their own lives, and they were never able to find out who they truly were. They were never given the opportunity nor the freedom to express themselves, to explore life. I think this is such a beautiful film, great performances, and I really enjoyed this movie, but I do think it's so interesting that this movie is told through the lens of the male gaze. And it's directed by Sofia Coppola. It's directed by a woman, and I think she does this so well. We're able to see bits and pieces of the Lisbon sisters' life, but the entire film is told through this group of men that really wish and desire that they knew who the girls really were, but they'll never know. They'll never truly know.